Thursday of Holy Week is often called Maundy Thursday. Maundy comes from the Latin, which means command or commandment. John 13 says, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands and he had come from God and was going back to God, rose from supper. He laid aside his outer garments and taking on a towel, tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. At the end, he said, "Do you understand what I've done for you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet." And later he would say, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You are also to love one another. By this all people will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another." The command that Jesus is calling us to is a command to love him by loving one another and serving one another. Washing feet was the lowliest of all jobs. Not even it was reserved for the lowest slave. And that's what Jesus did for his disciples. How could he do it? He knew who he was. Look at what he says. He knew that he was from the Father, and he had come from the Father and was going back to him. Jesus had nothing to prove. And so you and I, if we are in Christ, we have nothing to prove. We are God's children. We are co-heirs with Christ. And if we know that is our identity, we have nothing to prove to anyone else. And so we can love one another and serve one another, even in taking the lowliest position and doing the least thing that we could do for one another. As you prepare for Easter this week, are you keeping that command? Do people really know that you are Christ's disciples? Because you demonstrate your love one for another.